In this video, I'm going to show you how to build a cardboard rocket ship cat condo out of moving boxes. So to get started, you're just going to need a few supplies. You're going to need some strong packing tape, a tape measure, a box cutter, and if you don't have a box cutter, scissors will work fine. You just won't get as clean of cuts. And of course, we're going to need some boxes. I recommend some sturdy moving boxes, and you will need two of them, preferably around the same size. So to get started, let's take one of those boxes and lay it down on the ground. Draw a line across the flaps on one side of the box, and just go ahead and remove those flaps with the box cutter. And leave the flaps on the other edge alone. We'll need those later, so don't remove them. And then go ahead and stand the box up on its end. Pull it apart where it's glued together, like so. And then go ahead and lay it down flat. And you notice there's 4 panels, so go ahead and cut off one of them. So you'll leave 3 panels of the box. And when you're all done with that, tape the loose flaps together. And I tape these up pretty good because you don't want them to be falling apart when the rocket's trying to stand upright. And then once you get those all taped up really nicely, go ahead and roll it up. And roll it as tight as you can. The goal here is to get it into a round shape and make the cardboard more flexible so it's easier to work with later on. And then unroll it when you're all done and connect the 2 edges and tape them. Go ahead and stand it up and form it into the best cylinder that you can. It's not going to be perfect, but you want to get it as good as you can because it's important for later on when we attach the base that it matches. Okay, so go ahead and measure the diameter of the cardboard cylinder. And in this example, it's 17 inches. Yours is going to be different because it just depends on what box you're working with. But go ahead and note this number down because we're going to need it later. And set your cylinder aside. Now, let's take that second moving box. And on this one, go ahead and draw a line across both flaps and cut the flaps off the top and bottom of the box. So it'll look something like this. And then just like the first box, let's stand it up and pull it apart where it's glued together. And then lay it down flat and mark the center. And now we're going to split it in half. And then also you'll notice that there's some overhang where it was glued together. Go ahead and remove this extra bit as well because we want both pieces to be the same length. And so here's what you'll have, or something similar. Now go ahead and mark the midpoint of the rectangle and draw a triangle and cut them out. So you'll have 2 identical triangles, and these are the pieces that are going to form the base of the rocket, and will also be the fins. So earlier, when we measured the diameter of the cylinder, remember we wrote down the number. We wrote down it was 17 inches, and so in this one here, I'm measuring 17 inches across. Find the point in the triangle that's exactly 17 inches across. And the line that we draw here should be parallel to the base of the triangle. So measure 17 inches, draw a line, go ahead and cut it. And we're doing the same with both of these triangles. So now we have these 2 trapezoids. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to measure to the center of the trapezoid. So we found this midpoint along the base here and measure the height. And it should be the same for both trapezoids if you cut them right. And so in this example, they're 9 inches. And so what we're going to do next is we're going to cut these trapezoids so that they fit together and like so they cross fit together to form a solid base. And so what we do is we measure 4.5 inches from the top of one of them and then 4.5 inches from the bottom of the other one. And so we cut from the top on one, cut from the bottom on the other so that they slide nicely together. And then at these top points here on the trapezoid, this is going to be the same for both of them. So unlike the top and bottom cuts, these cuts are going to be the same on both. So we're going to measure from these top points. See the dotted line is going to be 4.5 inches straight down from both points. And so we're going to do this to both of them. And we're going to make a cut there as well. So here's both of them with the dotted line so you can see where the cuts go. Now we're going to go back to our cylinder, the one that we measured earlier, and we taped together and then we set it aside. So go ahead and fold it down or flatten it out on the ground, and then where the folds are at on the edges here, go ahead and mark those with a Sharpie. And then do the same in the opposite direction. So our goal here is to get 4 points around the perimeter of the cylinder that are equidistant from one another. And so once you get that all done, as you can see, it should be kind of loose like this. Don't fold it over. Just showing you a demonstration here so you can see what the cut is like. So we should have 4 of them. And now let's go ahead and assemble the base here. We slide one piece of cardboard into the other. It's kind of like a Christmas tree base. It should stand up on its own. And then let's take the cylinder where we made those equidistant cuts and go ahead and slide those nicely into the base. And then so you should have a base holding an upright cylinder. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make the rocket point. So earlier when we cut the flaps off of the boxes, I told you to set those aside. So let's go ahead and grab those now. And we're going to measure them and find the midpoint and make a mark and draw a triangle. We're going to cut out 4 of them. And so you should have 4 equally sized triangles. And now we're going to attach them together. See where I've marked the tape. And you're going to want to do this with pretty strong packing tape or use a lot of tape. There's going to be a lot of tension on this when we attach it to the rocket. And once that's all put together, tape that to the top of the cylinder, the one that's sitting upright on the base, and go one panel at a time. Kind of wrap it around as best you can, and it should form a point, something like this. And so now we have a base and a rocket cylinder, and we have the cone with a kind of a door for the cats to get in and out of. And then the last thing here is look down in the cylinder, and you'll notice that the base that we assembled earlier will serve as a foundation for whatever platform the cat will be sitting on. So what I did is I just took some spare cardboard and cut it to size and just laid it in there crisscross. And you could place a pillow or a cat bed inside, and that is pretty much it. Your cat spaceship is ready to go. Thank you for watching, and remember to subscribe.